In our first story tonight, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has reviewed the expected revenue loss to the country as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister now projecting about 15.85 billion cedis. Now, this represents a significant increase from the initial 11 billion projection. Aboagye-Wiafe has been going through the numbers. He's here to unpack that for us, George. So what's changed? Where are we getting these latest numbers
Well,
from?
Dara, what changed? It tells you that each and every day the economy is bleeding, and therefore when the numbers comes in from the various government agencies, the Ministry of Finance is then required to update us, and that is why first we had about 11 billion and now it's shot up to almost 16 billion. These data were captured in the document that the Finance Minister presented to Parliament when he sought to get some approval for this loan package from the Bank of Ghana, about 10 billion Ghana cedis.
Right.
Now, if you go through that document, it gives you a fair idea where the areas the laws are coming from. You can talk about petroleum revenue, you could talk about taxes and the non-taxes as well. And all these things sum up to the 15.58 billion Ghana cedis. Now, if you go through the document again, Dara, you get a fair idea about how big the fiscal gap is. So you're looking at somewhere around 21 billion Ghana cedis. Now, lucky for the Ministry of Finance, they've been able to secure this package from the Bank of Ghana. So obviously minus 10 billion from 21, the gap comes in a little bit. But it tells you that there is still a gap that has to be filled down. All
right, 16 billion cedis, that's quite significant. So what would be the implication for government's budget?
Well, that is why the Minister of Finance is supposed to present a mid-year review to us and trying to review the assessment. It has serious implications. Some will say that the minister might be, if I can say, a big dilemma. Now, in a COVID-19 era, how do you plug that revenue loophole? You don't want to go out there and increase taxes because of the signals that it will send. Also, if you tell the Ghana Revenue Authority that let's still work with the numbers that we have in terms of companies and individuals, and they even give any signal of being aggressive, some businesses will tell you that you are being insensitive because, listen, our numbers are not good, I'm not doing well, so why Revenue Authority coming to me to ask me for money? Now, in times like these, what you also need is that you stimulate the economy. Just a few hours ago in Russia, they announced billions of dollars rather to try and turn the economy around. These are times when you pump in more money into the economy to turn around the economy. So the last thing that you want to do, Daryl, is try to cut down on your expenditure. So it's a dilemma. What do you do in trying to do this? Do you also go out there and borrow? Now, if you go into the market to borrow, you'll be competing with those small businesses out there that will also want to go to the commercial bank and borrow as well. So the finance minister is indeed in a tight corner in trying to plug this loophole, this big hole in this particular time. So we'll be looking forward to see what would he be doing when he goes to Parliament to present this mid-year review and see how he's going to close this gap and also ensure that going into an election year, you don't want a very wide deficit because it tells you that things could even be bad going forward in trying to correct that deficit.
Well, whilst the finance minister tries to find a way around this, the impact on the individual, help us understand the gravity of it.
Well, so therefore, individuals like you, if you have any SME, any business, again, if Ghana Revenue Authority moves to try and make sure you are compliant, it then sends signal that they are insensitive, because then should I honor my tax obligations now? I cannot even pay my workers and all the rest. So it has an implication on your disposable income as a company and even liquidity as well. So that might not be good. Let's look at the project side. If the finance minister decides that they're going to cut maybe that road in front of your house and all the rest, if they have to hold on to it, it has implications on you getting to work early, even cutting goods from maybe your workplace to the ports and all the rest. So on the individual side, if he tries to be aggressive, it will have an impact on your disposable income. In cutting down on some of these projects, that might also be good for you as an individual in moving from your house to work, productivity and all those things. So that is how it might impact you as an individual. I mean, imagine that you are also as a contractor, you are waiting for these monies to pay you so that you also lend to someone or pay to someone. That is how those cuts might hit various sectors of the economy and even you as well, Darryl.
All right, thank you very much, Aboagye-Wiafe. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look good.